Time for some more spooky stuff. Hello and welcome back to the channel. Of course, it is once again time for some Halloween themed beers, and this one is from Abbeydale Brewery. It's called Pilgrim, and it's a beer that I've wanted to try for exactly 1 year. And I know that because this time last year I was looking for Halloween themed beers to do beer reviews on, of course, and I was recommended two. One was Elusive's Brewing. I'll be honest, I can't remember the name of the beer now, but I reviewed it, and to be honest, it was pretty dreadful. The second one was this. So I'm hoping for something just a little bit better. So before we break into it, here is a quick look at the can. I don't think I've ever had anything from Abbeydale before, but that's a pretty nifty looking can wrap. Pilgrim pumpkin spiced ale in at 5%. And of course there's a bit of info on the back as well that we'll get into later. Let's do it. Now, I have to say, even just on the pour, the aromas are spot on. It smells gorgeous, a little bit sweet, cinnamon, roasty, herbs and spices, well, just spices really, malty, the works. So I am looking forward to this one. In the glass, it's a slightly hazed gold with a smidge below one finger, kind of soft, bubbly white head on it. Doubt the head's going to retain for too long, but I have to say, it does look pretty appealing. Right then, aromas. This is the strongest pumpkin beer, on the aroma anyway, that I've had for a long time. Now, I believe it is meant to be a golden ale with pumpkin spices, not actual pumpkin, but it's got that very autumnal, super spice heavy vibe that's almost, I'll be honest, the amount of spice that's in there, especially the cinnamon, is drifting almost into Christmas territory on this beer. So really, I think this can be considered a winter warmer hybrid, even if it is designed for, well, a Halloween run. But those spices really prickle at your nose, and there's also a nice bit of sweet kind of citrus, orange peel. Not much of the malt coming through on the nose, to be honest. It almost smells a bit cakey, almost a bit carrot cakey. Anyway, all these things are a good sign, so let's get into it. Cheers. Okay. If the trajectory of the beers I'm drinking continues the way it's going, the next one should be phenomenal. Because this is very, very good, I have to say. It's refreshing, it's spritzy, but it's super, super warming on the back end. But it's not alcohol burn, it's just that, well, it's the spices. It is, it's the pumpkin spice element. It's really a proper cold autumnal warmer. Retains that slightly carrot cakey aftertaste, and right at the back there is a tiny, tiny bit of, well, quality malt that you'd expect from just a quality pale. So, that I am digging. Right then, top to bottom taste test time. So, initially, sweet, tiny bit of citrus, reasonably carbonated on the front of the tongue, not overly, just maybe not as flat as it looks in the glass. That second phase, bit of bitterness comes in. Doesn't stick around too long though, because in comes the real punch right at the back. You get a tiny break of just a really, I guess, splashy, refreshing, crisp ale, and then all the flavour hits. You've got sweet orange peel, bit of lemon, you've got all the spices, bit of cinnamon, as I've already said, quite cinnamon heavy. I'm not normally a cinnamon fan, but it's actually really working for me in this. Bit of ginger in there, possibly a bit of clove, and there's a tiny bit of fire right at the back, possibly a bit more ginger, maybe a bit of the alcohol in that. And as I said, it mellows out into a super, super light crisp malt. It's hard to detect, but it is there. I think if you're eating a snack with this, you'd probably never get it. But I tell you what, this does remind me of a bit. It feels a bit like kind of a pale Weiss beer hybrid, if that makes any sense at all, but with the addition of some big hot ginger just to keep the spice level a bit higher. That is properly good. Now then, I've raved about it, but I should say, as is the problem with most of this style beer, it does come across as a bit thin. It's a bit splashy, it's a bit watery. However, I don't mind it so much in this one compared to others I've reviewed recently, simply because the spice element is strong enough to warrant a refreshing, kind of almost light lager quality beer. It's not, it's of a better quality than that, but you know what I mean? That kind of, yeah, that slightly thinner, very refreshing thing that light lagers have. It has a bit of that about it. But as I say, in this particular occasion, I actually don't mind. Right, let's take a look at the can. On the front then, Abbeydale Brewery Pilgrim Pumpkin Spiced Ale at 5%. That's all it says. And then on the back it says Pilgrim Pumpkin Spiced Ale. It's vegetarian, gluten-free. Oh no, or is it vegan? It just says VG, so that's nondescript already. But it's gluten-free, 440ml can. It says, begin your pilgrimage. A seasonal addition to our small batch Brewers Emporium range, this tasty spiced ale is fragrant, full-bodied and flavoursome with a lightly bitter finish. We've selected a classic combination of autumnal spices inspired by our favourite holiday recipes to create a cosy yet refreshing golden ale to keep those cockles toasty and warm. There's 2.2 UK units in this can because it is 5%. It's best before mid-June next year, so it's got the best part of a year's shelf life. And the ingredients are water, barley, wheat, pumpkin. There is pumpkin in this, and that is the difference. Yes, absolutely yes. And I can tell, and it's, yeah. Anyway. Yes, that if you're going to make a pumpkin spice beer, there has to be some real pumpkin in there. Of that, I am adamant. Hops, there's allspice, cinnamon, cloves, ginger, nutmeg. There's yeast, clearing agent. I mean, yeah, that's it. So it's an array of spices and some real pumpkin, which makes a nice change because most of the time they're just pale ales with a few of those spices kicked in. And whilst they are nice tasting, they come across a little bit lackluster sometimes. Whereas that hits the mark, really does. Very impressed. Right then, so any final thoughts? Well, the aroma on this really keeps you interested, and I kind of come across a different sensation every time. It's all the same spice blend, of course, but started off at carrot cake, pumpkin spice latte is kind of the obvious go-to, but also I'm now starting to get deeper, mince pies, Christmas pudding, that sort of thing. It's really rich, and it's just those spice elements with a bit of sweet orange is what's coming across, presumably from the hop. That's really, yeah, it just smells delicious. I think you could brand that as a pumpkin Weiss beer, and no one would really question it too much. Okay, the body may be a little thin for a Weiss beer, but other than that, it really is spot on. Big thumbs up from me on that one. And that really is all I've got to say about it. So as always, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like it. If you haven't already subscribed, if you will be so kind. And I'll catch you next time. Cheers.